Stargate has been a part of my life for such a long time. I remember the first time I ever watched it. I was hooked instantly. Today I just want to talk about why I love Stargate and why I'm super excited for the potential of it to return and everything in between. So welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So these kind of videos that I sit down and I talk to you and I give you my feelings on certain topics around the Stargate genre seem to do really well. You guys seem to resonate really well with them. I thought I would sit down and talk about the first time I watched Stargate and how I fell in love with this television show. Because it's influenced my life in so many ways, beyond just a television show. It inspired me creatively. It inspired a love of programming, which is something I'll get into very shortly. But without Stargate, I don't think I would be where I am today. I don't think I would have the passions that I have today. So let's talk about why. Why do I love this television show? This show that's not been on the air for 12 years. Why has it had such an impact on my life? Well, I've always been a fan of sci-fi. I've always been a fan of things like aliens and spaceships and big space battles and things like that. The first time I ever watched Stargate would have been probably around about 2003 or 2004. So I would have been 12 or 13 years old. So you can kind of work out how old I am from that. I didn't watch it from the very beginning at first. I was watching it as it was airing on Sky TV in the UK. I instantly fell in love. I can't remember what the first episode I ever watched was, but I do remember there was a person in my life at the time who introduced me to the show. We sat down together, we watched it, and it instantly became, at the time, one of my favourite television shows. My favourite show would have been Doctor Who, but Stargate has been such an eventful catalyst in my life that I could safely say it's probably my favourite show now. Anyone who watches this channel will know that I love Doctor Who. It's not a secret that I love Doctor Who. The same person who introduced me to Stargate also introduced me to Doctor Who back in 2005. When the revival hit, we both sat down together, we watched it, and it was something we could bond over, and it was great. Absolutely loved it. The thing I think I really loved about Stargate when I first started to watch it was it felt like it was happening. It felt like everything that was happening in the show could have been happening in the real world. I didn't realize it at the time, but it was I didn't know the word for it. I just felt like it was familiar, like it was something that could happen. But obviously the word for it now is it was very grounded in reality. It was very cemented in this could actually happen. This is something that could be happening right now and we would have no idea about it. And that always interested me. That always intrigued me. And I've always just loved the idea of the government having a secret Stargate. And we're just going to other worlds and we're meeting alien races. We've got spaceships out there that no one knows about. And humanity is greater than what we give it credit for. Stargate was always one of those shows that I could come home from school and I could watch it in the evening. Because I think it was on around about 6 p.m, 7 p.m. in the UK, something like that. So I'd always sit down in the evening and I'd watch it. If I didn't watch it straight away, I would record it on Sky Plus. And I'd watch it as and when I could. Now, I eventually did manage to get the Stargate DVDs, and that's when I watched every single episode from the beginning all the way until the end. I've since watched every single episode hundreds of times. I go through a rotation. I know a lot of you guys do exactly the same thing, where we go through SG1, we go through Atlantis, we go through Universe, we watch all three of the movies, and then we want to watch it all again. So we just carry on watching, and that's something that I do personally. I just carry on watching it because it honestly is my favorite television show. Now, I mentioned that Stargate was instrumental in my love of coding and programming, and the story behind that is there was a platform called Beyond. It still exists today, beyond.com, build your own net dream. And essentially it was a platform where you could create your own 2D games. They're multiplayer games, so you could interact with, you could have a community around these games, and you could have people playing them. At the time, there was a game called Stargate Online. The creator, his online name was Yojita, so he obviously was a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Z is very prevalent on Beyond. But he had a game called Stargate Online, and one of my friends from school actually told me about it, because we both enjoyed Stargate, and we started playing. Now, thankfully, at the time, this was quite a negative thing that happened, and I was looked down upon for it. But someone essentially was given the source code for this game, and we started hosting our own versions of it. It was called ripping. We basically ripped the game and we started hosting our own versions. But what that led to, me being able to go into the code of this game that I really, really enjoy playing, was I learned how to read code first and foremost and edit things to make things happen the way I want it. But I wanted to learn more. I wanted to know how I could add things to it, not just change things and change some icons and change some text. I wanted to add things to the game. So I started to learn to code. Now, Beyond is written in it. I can explain it as a derivative of C++. It's a very, very watered down version. Very watered down. Very, very basic, but it was very easy to use, and that ease of use led me to get to know my way around programming languages, understanding the syntax, understanding the logic of how computers work and how computers handle operations. I've gone on to create many things with code, and I do it a lot in my current job. I currently work in IT, and this skill has helped me tremendously, and it would never have happened had I not been as invested in Stargate, had I not have found Stargate Online, and had I not been given the source code, however illegally that might have been, and started tinkering. And I think a lot of geeky people, at least back in the day, I'm sure people do it now, we like to tinker. So that might be with source code from a popular project, like an open source project or something nowadays, because a lot of things are open source. It might be from something that you've acquired illegally, but it's going to fuel an interest and a passion. And I can honestly say, without Stargate, that passion, that fire in me would never have been lit. And my passion for wanting to learn more about computers and IT and everything that goes with it probably wouldn't have happened either. So Stargate has had a tremendous impact in my life. A tremendous impact. And yeah, I'm interested if you guys have any similar stories. Did any of you ever play Stargate Online? Do you know who Yojita is? Do you know Gat Dude, Gat Dude, who famously spelled his username wrong? He wanted to be Gate Dude, but didn't put an E. He was the one who ripped the game and gave it to everyone, essentially. So without Gat Dude, thank you, Gat Dude. You inspired my love of coding, and yeah. Do you guys have any similar stories? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm sorry this video is a little bit different to what I would normally post, but I thought I would let you get to know me a little bit more. And yeah, just talk about Stargate, because it has had such an impact in my life. And thinking about all the decisions I've made in my life, I can attribute them to starting out with the spark that came from Stargate. And it's such a good show, and this is why I'm so excited for it to potentially be coming back, because I want it to inspire another generation. I want more kids like me to be inspired. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.